بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وما بعد. Recited was the chapter of Naba, the energy chapter of the news, and they call this from this chapter is where they use when they talk about the ajza or the parts of the Quran. There are 30 parts of the Quran. I think they call them in Urdu paras. Call them paras, 30 paras of the Quran, right? So they call this juz amma because of the beginning of this chapter. Amma yatasa'alun, and amma means what, about what particularly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts off the chapter saying amma yatasa'alun. What are they asking about? Anin naba'il azim, about the great news. But I want to capitalize on one verse that is a foundation in our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a very important foundation rather. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says after A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَهُ كِتَابًا, and everything we have encompassed, it has been written. Everything has been written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a proof that the scholars use when they talk about the predestination of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the predestination, they break up into primarily four parts. From them is kitaba, that Allah written what was, what is, and what will be. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the first thing He created was the pen, and He told the pen to uktub. He told the pen to write. This is important for all of us to understand the predestination of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His knowledge. Because when we face anything in our lives, it should be known to the best of our ability that there is a creator that knows everything. He knew what would happen, He knows what is happening, and He knows what will happen. What happens with these servants, sometimes we forget our state, we forget our existence and the origin of our existence and the span of our existence. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُلُّ مَنْ عَلَيْهَا فَانٍ, that everything will perish, every single thing will perish, and we are part of that process, we are part of those things. So with the reality that we are a form of creation and that we will demise, we will leave this earth individually or collectively, depending on if we die before the Day of Judgment or when the Day of Judgment comes and all of us will perish. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing you and reminding you of your reality. With that reality in and of itself, that we are here temporarily and that Allah yabqa wa yabqa wajhu rabbika dhul jalali wal ikram. And Allah says, and the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the noble face, will stay here. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never ever perish. With that reality of Allah being the greatest and being the omnipotent and all of His names and attributes that are endless and perfect, we look at ourselves by default. You should look at yourself. The reason I'm mentioning this is because when we ask God why things are the way they are, when we are upset at why things are the way they are currently, when we question God's authority, and when I say God's authority, the happenings of the earth, whether it's in your own particular situation, such as what may happen to you today or what happened to you yesterday, which may affect what's happening today from sickness, from health, from wealth, family, anything of that nature. When anything happens like that, we have to remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has predestined it, and that is within His honor and His majesty and His ilm and His knowledge. That's why the qadr, the predestination, one of the aspects of predestination is kitaba. And Allah says, أَحْصَيْنَاهُ كِتَابًا, that we have encompassed it, everything has been written. This pillar of our iman, which is one of the pillars of iman, and there are 6 of them, the pillars of iman, this pillar is very, very important in regards to when the Muslim faces a trial or tribulation, who is their anchor and from which way do they activate that anchor? Your anchor being Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the way that you activate it is recognizing His knowledge, His wisdom, His care, His love, His predestination. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those that recognize the reality of His predestination and allow that predestination to shine within our hearts and our minds, and inshallah be shown through our tongues. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. And there's one gathering. I see our brother Wasim, I'm sorry I put you on the spot, but I was looking up this thing. I don't know if y'all have looked it up. I advise all of you to look up this chat GPT thing that's happening. I advise y'all to look this up because it's very concerning to me personally. I don't know about all of you, but it's artificial intelligence. I know I shouldn't be speaking about it on after Fajr for y'all, but something I've been reading on, and very, very important, I think, just to get information on that, especially for your children and their future. I think it's something that's pertinent for us to read upon, inshallah. Chat GPT, inshallah. If you have any other questions, you can ask our mufti. I put him on this. He works in artificial intelligence, so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Jazakallah khair. Wa sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. Barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.